We have tremendous news in the track and field world because common sense has finally prevailed. After many years of trying to get this rule into practice, it finally seems as though the hard work and constant internet trolling has paid off, ladies and gentlemen. We are finally at a point where there will be no empty lanes in a final. Now, you might not really think about this too much, but look back at the 2011 World Championships, when Usain Bolt got eliminated due to a false start. After he got eliminated, that lane was left empty, meaning that hundreds of people who were looking to compete in the final that deserved a position were just left away from the finals. This is obviously sad when you think about how hard people work just to get left 1 or 2 positions away from the finals, but now it finally seems as though common sense is here. Because if anyone for any reason reaches the finals of a world championship and false starts or has some kind of injury, the next best ranked athlete from the field will run in that final. Imagine the emotional back and forth that goes from having a false start in the finals, knowing that that person will be eliminated, to knowing that the next person in the waiting area gets to compete for a chance for a medal. This honestly adds a very interesting and I think fun dynamic to the track and field world. And if we look back to last year's World Championships, there probably would have been close to 15 to 20 people that would have gotten a chance to compete for a medal that otherwise had to sit out from the finals. I feel like there's going to be 1 or maybe 2 athletes every single Olympic and World Championship cycle that ultimately don't technically make the final, but then get to the finals due to this new rule and then somehow win a medal. That would be one of the craziest emotional roller coasters that I could even imagine. Just barely missing the final, then seeing someone false start, feeling a little bit bad for them of course, then knowing you're in the final, then somehow having the race of your life, maybe fueled by adrenaline, and getting onto the podium. The thing that I like about this is that it is more inclusive, and it's also going to make for a more balanced race. Oftentimes, over the 100 or the 200 meters, you'll have an empty lane in the middle of the track, and psychologically speaking for everyone else, that can just kind of throw you off because you're used to athletes being in every single lane for a 100 or 200 meter event. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this includes every single event from the 100 up to the 10,000 meters, and I would imagine that it also includes the field events as well. So I'm really happy to hear this, and I'm also really happy to hear something that's a similar kind of ruling, but it has to do with qualifications in middle distance running. In the past, the way that qualification would work was they would take the top 3 or 4 fastest, and then out of the other 3 or 4 qualifications, only the fastest people would be able to qualify. Now, the reason this rule was not met with much happiness is because very often the different races would just end in such drastically different times, and very often it would be suicide to run out to the front and go for a fast time, because leading a race by a big margin can drain you of all of your energy. Now, instead of the small qualification queues, it's all going to be based on position. So for instance, in the 1500, if there's 4 qualifications, every single race will only include the top 4 or top 5 finishers. I'm not entirely sure the numbers yet, but I actually think this is another great decision because it no longer includes those little qualification numbers that often leave out people that really do deserve to make it into the next round. I think that this is really good news in track and field, and I'm very excited to see what actually happens in this year's World Championships. And with all this in mind, I would love to hear from all of you. What do you think of these new rule implementations? Do you think they're good? Do you think they're bad? Do you think they're just kind of meh? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, until next time.